going a little bit out of my typical routine of showing you properties that are typically south of 2 million bucks and north of about 250,000. But today I have a special treat because just today, or in the last 48 hours, there has been a property that has hit the market in the concession. Now, for those of you who don't know what the concession is, it is a neighborhood out on East State Road 70 that is for the few and the proud. It is for the people who you have probably never heard of, but they definitely own a large share of the portion of cash flow in this country, and they build monsters homes, they build ridiculous homes, and they build homes that you just have to kind of wrap your head around and say, how could you ever need that much space? But today I'm going to get you, at least from a photo footprint, into the home that just hit the market. I'm not even going to save it till last. It's going to be the first one today. And I have a competition for everybody that I don't have the answer for, but I'm going to find the answer, and I want you to be the person that might actually provide me with the answer. Before I even find out what it is, there is something in this house. It's not even in the house. It's on the outside of the house. I don't know what it is. I can't tell what it is. And I'd like to see your thoughts as to what it is. But before I get there, I do want to talk about the state of the real estate market. East State, that's pretty cool. There's my lame joke for the day. I do like to talk about this because I think it's really important that you understand the power of the market at the current time. And the reality is that, if you're even a potential buyer, or if you're somebody that you do have investments, or you have a home that you own, it's important that you understand the state of the market, because if you view your home as an investment, not a retirement plan, but an investment, you see it as a movable asset. So it is something that, if the numbers line up right, it's something that you would make a move on. And even though we kind of emotionally attach to our homes, it is something that we should be able to have kind of a third-party point of view and say, okay, where are we in the market at this current point? This is my second and a half cup of coffee today. It is so good. If you're looking for great or organic, nicely roasted coffee, Bold Bean out of Jack's Beach, that's where we get our coffee. It is absolutely phenomenal. So the real estate market, if you've been watching my videos, especially my groupies, thank you for continuing to watch and support my videos. It seems like a broken record about the inventory problem that we have currently. Any normal market would have anywhere from 6 to 9 months of inventory, 6 months on the low end, but at least 9 months of inventory of houses for just a general market. And there would be, a nice supply and demand balance that's going on. The fact is that since COVID, we are just definitely not seeing it. It was already an issue beforehand, but it has definitely become an issue since. I've watched it drop and drop and drop. I haven't seen the August numbers yet, because August numbers typically don't come out till mid-September. But what I am finding is that I believe we are going to drop below the 2 months of inventory line. So I just want you to imagine, going into a shoe store, okay? I worked at Shoe Carnival when I was a teenager. That was my first job, and I loved it. And, you go into the store, you see the shoes all over the shelves, and you've got that. And on any given day, that store is full. Well, that's what, 6 to 9 months of inventory looks like. So now I want you to imagine going in and seeing, 25%, 30% of what should be on the shelves. That's going to be a very bare store, and so to be able to keep that store open, that store is either going to have to raise prices because of supply and demand. If the same amount of people are still buying shoes, but they've only got that amount of shoes, then either the shoes need to be effective in terms of what their customers are buying, and so they can't be the garbage shoes that somehow got bought up by Shoe Carnival. They've got to be good shoes that people are going to buy, or they're still going to sit there, or we're going to get to a point that people are just going to start buying it because they're going to just say, well, whatever, I can't get anything else, or they're just not going to buy shoes, right? So, but then the really, really good shoes, what I call your Air Force One Nikes, they're going to start increasing in price. So rather than being $130 or whatever it is that their going rate is now, they're going to be going for $200, or they're going to be going for $150, maybe on sale for $150, 30% off, or 25% off, whatever. So I want you to keep in mind that's where the real estate market is. So it is a seller's market. The question that I've had in my head is, why are people so hesitant to sell right now? Is it because you have two-income households that have been cut down to one? Is it because people have been refinancing because refinancing rates are so low, and so now they've just kind of got buyer's commitment? They've said, well, we've already paid for the closing costs or whatever. We don't want to do anything else because why would I? I've got a 2% rate on my house. Why would I go back up to 275 or 325 and increase my mortgage when it's just in a really great payment position right now? Is it because people are just concerned about the election, which I've had many talks with my viewers about not putting everything, don't project it out in the future. Now's the time to make a move. When everybody wants to start making a move, it's going to be more competitive. So, you've got to answer these questions for yourselves. If you even have the inkling as to, maybe I should consider it, let's just talk about what your home value would be, and then we can go from there. Then you come to that fork in the road where you decide, okay, it's not even worth my time right now, or you know what, let's keep pursuing this further. And what you'll find is that once you decide, then all of a sudden you're going to have to make a decision on where to buy. And in this market, and this is everywhere. This isn't. Well, no, it's not everywhere, because if you look at, we've been using the example of New York and LA and San Francisco. I mean, people are running away from those places and they're coming to Texas and Florida and to Arizona and New Mexico. So, what is it that's happening there that's bringing people here? Well, you can say it's political, you can say it's the weather, but at the end of the day, I think for Florida, it has to come down to state taxes. The fact that we don't pay any state taxes in the state of Florida, our tourists pay it. Those are the kinds of things that are really appealing for people as they're trying to save 10% income, say, for example. So I'm blabbing at this point, but one thing I want to say as well, just in terms of the competitiveness and why it's a good time to buy. And this is kind of the thing that I pay attention to, that real estate's not really going to talk about this too much, is what is the percentage of the market being taken up by investors? In any given market, your average amount of investors that are buying homes is somewhere about 9%. So, it might be a little bit higher in the Suncoast area, just being kind of the market that we are, having the beach. We've got a lot more Airbnbs and monthly and semi-annual rentals and things like that. But what I would say is that in any traditional market, it's going to be about 9%. And what we found is that there was a little bit of a drop between 2013, 2016, just because it got harder to find a deal. It got harder to find, any kind of sales, because, the prices kept increasing. So the rental margins would squeeze for any investor. So, and I promise you there's a point if you're a single family owner to this, but what we're finding is that since this influx of cash has been pumped into investors and pumped into corporations in the last couple of months, what we're finding is that investors' buy-up is taking place. And rather than 9% of home sales being taken up by investors, we're seeing close to and more than 15%. So this is actually the opposite of what I expected, and I'll get to that in a second. But 15%, that's almost double. I mean, that's not close to, or that's very close to being double the amount of investors that are picking up homes. So what does that mean? It means that they see a real advantage in the rental market here in the coming years. They see that it's worth buying right now because there's going to be an increase in price and it's worth taking the risk. And, that the market is only going to go it's either going to flatten out where margins are okay or it's going to increase. So that's a good sign to see that when investors are buying, that's a good thing. I mean, as much as it stinks because it kind of increases our price because it cuts the demand of, or it cuts the supply of homes down, and so there's empty homes out there that aren't being lived in when you would just love to have a piece of the action. But the reality is that it's good that they're buying because it says that there's going to be increase. And if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, if you have a go-getter attitude, you have the desire to be a homeowner, you can get in with when you put your mind to it and you set your goals out ahead of you. It's not as far out as you think. If you want a house, you want a nice lifestyle. It was said the other night at the artsy, you can have it. You can have it. Do you want it? So I am, again, blabbing, but I said that I was going to say one other thing. I have forgotten what it was, but let's go ahead and move to my hot drop. And now that I have preached at you for the last 5 minutes, or it's probably been 10 now, so let me share my screen real quick. And let's see. so much for continuing to watch my videos. People say to me all the time, they're like, "Hey man, I've been seeing your videos. Thanks so much for putting that out. I definitely was watching it." So as a result, y'all keep saying keep doing it, so I'm going to keep doing these because it forces me to get into the market a little bit further. One thing that I do want to talk about as well is I do commercial real estate. Now, what does that mean, commercial real estate? It means I deal with warehouses, retail spaces, and any kind of building that you would do any kind of industrial work, that you would do mechanic work. I do land when it comes to commercial real estate. And it is my dream. I don't tell many people this, but I'm feel compelled. It is my dream to build, develop, and lease out skyscrapers. If that is in downtown Bradenton, that would be really awesome because I see downtown Bradenton as a total diamond in the rough. I think that eventually what's going to happen is that Sarasota and St. Pete are going to get too expensive. And did I just freeze? I'm going to turn... Let's see. Maybe you can hear me. Wow. Well, I'm going to finish talking and maybe you can still hear me. I'm not sure. If I'm zigzagging on your screen like I was on my screen, it would be pretty cool looking. It's kind of creepy, actually, but I would love to do skyscraper work. And so if you have a business need or your business is going to be moving at any point in the near future, I'd love to talk with you about either shrinking down or expanding forward, finding the right deal, if it's buying, if it's leasing. Those are all the kinds of things that I do in the commercial space. So keep me in mind in those things. And I don't know if I'm talking to a wall, so I'm just going to go at this point. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.